Welcome to the Lead Pedal Podcast with your host, Bruce Outridge, where he talks all things trucking. Now let's get rolling.
Hey, how's everybody doing today? Welcome to another edition of the podcast. I'm your host, Bruce Outridge. Today we're going to be talking about Chameleon Carriers. We're going to be talking about some of the red flags you need to look for and some of the questions you need to ask as a driver to make sure that you are not getting caught in the wrong company. There's a lot of reasons to be doing that. Before we get to that, though, let me tell you a little bit about Harnois Énergies and their new truck stop happening at exit 230 on the 401 in Woodstock, Ontario. This is coming soon, my friends. And I got to tell you, it's going to be an awesome place. It's going to be an SO card lock facility. So if you don't have your SO card, you really need to get on that. But they are going to have diesel and propane fueling available. They're going to have a quick service dining area, showers, large parking area for trucks. They're going to have RV refill stations, 2 convenience stores, and they're also going to have a maintenance facility on site. This is going to be an awesome place, and it is an SO card lock, so you want to make sure you get your SO card. If you don't already have one, you can go to harnoisenergies.com, or you can call 1-800-363-2712. And they've been around since 1958, so they are not new to the game of trucking, and this is going to be, they're remodeling the whole facility. You're going to be excited. I know I'm excited to see it, and you've been to exit 230 before because there was a former truck stop there. So you know that it's a great place to sit, and lots of you go through that area to begin with. All right, so check it out at harnoisenergies.com. All right, let's get into today's episode about Chameleon Carriers.
Be sure to share the podcast on your favorite social media channels.
All right, so today we're going to talk about a lot of things. We talked in the last episode about finding the good carriers. In this episode of which is part 2, we're going to talk about what to look for as the bad carriers are out there. And there's a lot of bad carriers out there. You really need to do your homework these days. There's so many carriers that are popping up, and you need to really watch what you're doing. So Chameleon Carriers are carriers that kind of change their profiles a lot. Every time they get into trouble, they kind of open it up. And some of the things that you're looking for, and this goes for training schools as well, my friends, whether you're a carrier, whether you're someone who's new coming into the industry, this happens in training as well. So what do you spot a Chameleon Carrier? Well, here's some of the red flags. They have the same phone number and address across multiple profiles. So let's say they have they're a carrier in Ontario, they're a carrier, but all of the head office is the same one. Now this is not a red flag just because this is a big business thing too as well. We have a parent company that is our parent company for different things. So it's not but if you're looking at that's a kind of a red flag. Okay, I'm not saying they're not being true just because they have the same address, but most of their terminals should have different addresses, that kind of thing. If they're using the same DOT number across multiple companies, if they have a lot of turnover, so they get caught, they get fined, they get shut down, and then they open up with a new DOT number, but it's the same carrier that was there last time. This is another big red flag. They have a poor safety record, and folks, you can do this whether you're in Canada or the United States. You can go to fmcsa.com in the States, .org, I think it is in the States. And then you can also go to the, if you're in Ontario, here it'd be MTO, Ministry of Transportation of Ontario. But you can go wherever you are. Go to your association or go to the safety people in your area and type in the name of these carriers. You can do it online and look what their safety record is. If they've got some really bad safety score, then you do not want to be part of that for sure. What do their trucks look like? If their trucks are held together with duct tape and they look like they're driving older units, they've never been repaired, those kind of things, those are red flags for you, for sure. If their trucks are unmarked, they don't have logos on it, those kind of things, they have a lot of out of service violations, or if they've got a history of shutting down and reopening on a regular basis, this is a problem. Now, I'll tell you a real world example of where this just happened. You guys remember the Humboldt accident? I was out in Alberta late last year, and I actually had a chance to talk with Scott Thomas. His son was in the bus that was hit by a Chameleon Carrier. The driver the carrier didn't get anything, closed down, reopened, didn't train, did anything. The driver had been working for this carrier for 2 weeks, was an engineering student that was just looking to get a job. 2 weeks on the job, he hit this bus, doing a lot of things wrong, and got 8 years in prison for it, and is now being sent back to his country, all because this carrier did not do things properly. And I'm going to play a little bit of this conversation I had with Scott Thomas about the Humboldt crash.
We saw the news clipping. We've been following your story very closely in Ontario as well, and I'm not sure. I'm so glad that you gave remorse to the driver that did it. I know he didn't mean to do that, but I mean, you have every right to be angry if you want to be. But I thought they really should be using him to go and talk to people as part of his sentence, to go to talk to all these training schools and say, here's what I did wrong, or here's what I look. What are your thoughts?
Yeah,
what he should be doing, I guess.
I've actually had that conversation with other people that, would I be willing to sit with him on a stage and talk about it? And yeah, I would. Because I do think that, there's a responsibility on his part and, quite honestly, the employer's part to talk about where the system failed, how it went bad. But clearly it was a bad employer that put him in that position. And, unfortunately, I think Mr. City is going to be deported as a result of the sentence and all that stuff. So that wouldn't be an option for him. But I kind of thought it would have made sense at the time, too, to stand up in front of people and be accountable. He always has been accountable. He wore it right from the start. He declared guilty, he accepted his guilty plea. But I think there would have been some value into trying to make the world a better place.
All right, so that's from Scott there, and we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about what you should be asking as a driver going into an interview to the recruiter. What questions should you ask? We're going to be sharing that with you. But before we do that, let me tell you a little bit about RS2000. If you're an owner-operator or a truck driver for that matter, and you are looking to keep some money in your pocket through lower taxes, I'm not saying cheating, I'm saying through knowing what you can claim, what you can't claim. This is one of the things that you do with RS2000 Tax Services. They are experts in the trucking and farming fields, and they are going to help you keep some money in your pocket. They know what you can claim as a truck driver, they understand the owner-operator business and tires and all that kind of stuff. So check them out at RS2000 Tax Consultants. We use them ourselves. Tell you that they are an upstanding company. They are all over Ontario, Canada. Their head office is in Kokomo, Ontario, but you don't have to go there. They come to you. They work with your whole family, and I know you're going to love working with them. So check them out because I know they're really going to be able to help you do what you got to do. All right. Let's get into some of these questions for interviewers. All right, so you need to interview a carrier as much as they are interviewing you. A lot of people do not get this wrong. They don't seem to understand that what they're doing is interviewing the carrier just as much as they and by doing that, by not asking the right questions, you are making sure that you're probably possibly getting into the wrong company. Hopefully you're not. There are a ton of companies on our carrier profile on our YouTube channel. If you want to go and see interviews with a number of these carriers, then you certainly can do that. But some of the questions that you should be asking for sure is, what happens if you refuse a load for safety reasons? This is a big thing that a lot of people don't ask about. What happens if you refuse a load? Now, you are an employee. You have to do what they say. Hopefully, they're not asking you to take unsafe loads, but there is a lot of things that people miss, and this is one of those things. So what happens? Now, Bison has a right to decide program, which is great. So that really helps. But there's a lot of things that you need to worry about and that you need to think about when you're doing that. So that's one question. Another question, how do you handle violations in the hours of service? Because a lot of companies may try to push you. They might be looking for you to push through those regulations and run illegally. We have ELDs, which are supposed to prevent that. but we've heard about a lot of tampering with that as well. So that doesn't mean that you're going to get off quickly by doing that. So what happens when you don't have the time to make that delivery, but everybody else wants you to be there for whatever the reason may be? And this is something that's really going to be important for you as far as checking out. How often are the drivers inspected at the company? This is something, if the company's never doing things like, ride-alongs, or if they're not doing, I know, for instance, Rosedale, when they're doing brake safety week, or the 72-hour blitz that they do each year, they are out there making sure that their drivers are prepared. The drivers are supposed to do their inspections, but let's face it, we know that drivers miss a lot of stuff too. And so they're out there making sure that all paperwork is good, that the trucks are good before they even go out the yard. That is the kind of thing that you want to make sure. So if a company never does that, what is that they're doing? What type of, are they doing any inspections? If they're not doing any inspections, it's a fine idea that they're not trying to improve their safety. You can ask them why the last truck driver leave. Now, they may not give you the right answer, but you can ask. You can ask, how come you guys have so much turnover? Why do people keep leaving your company? If they're not sharing that with you, then you really don't know what's going on. And you know what? The answers are really vague on any of these questions. It tells you that something's going on. And probably the biggest one right now in 2026 and going out of 2025 was if they ask you to be incorporated when you walk in. And so you walk in for a job and they say, hey, we want you to incorporate. You're going to run. We call that driver Inc. in the industry. If you don't have a truck with you, or you're taking any tools with you, you are probably not an owner operator, and so you would just be an employee. If they're asking you to do that, they're trying to get away with paying corporate taxes, those kind of things, and that's basically a chameleon carrier in a lot of ways, and you really have to watch what you're looking for there. I had a chat with Erin Sherman. She's with Bison Transport, and she was talking about some of the things that new drivers should look into when applying for a job.
There's just so much spamming and scams going on these days.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody would scam to get a job. That seems wrong to me, because
they do. Yeah.
So I'm thinking, why would you do that? Because if you're working there long term, they're going to find you out over time anyway, right?
And this is because it baffled me, right? Yeah. So then I started to realize when I'm looking at those application forms, they're not established transportation companies,
right,
that they have worked for. So chances are, when they went in to apply, it was show me your license.
Yeah.
Here's the keys.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So, when they now come to apply at a larger company, they've come in with how they did it the first time.
Yeah.
And then if they start to balk at the process, I know we're not for you. Right.
That's right. They're not for you. And a lot of companies know what to look for. So if you think that, I got the job like this last time, I know how to get it this time, that's not right. That's not how it works. And Erin is a very experienced recruiter. She knows what to look for. And so getting it past those recruiters, they have their own checks and balance in place, folks. So they are looking for people to do what they're doing. Let me tell you about a good company, Rosedale Transport, right? They are a great company. They've been around for 50 years, long success for sure. And you know what? They've got a good safety record. You want to check them out. If you're looking for a company that's stable, they have 15 terminals throughout North America, and they've got local, regional, highway, and owner-operator positions. If that is fit for you, then go check them out at rosedalegroup.com. Look at their careers tab, and you can find out exactly what's available today as far as jobs, and they're going to get you going for sure. All right, let's talk about some of your homework for this episode.
By far my favorite station. You're the best. Oh yeah. I love you guys.
Thanks for listening.
sure to share the podcast on your favorite social media channels.
All right, let's think about some of the things we look for. Let's just do a quick recap. So here's your carrier homework. I would actually go back and listen to part 1 of this, where we talked about what to look for in a good carrier, and then go back and listen to this one again and be careful with the Chameleon Carriers. Be very careful, especially if you're somebody, we're going to be talking about this in a future series this month, of somebody who's coming in from another country and you're new to the system and somebody's promising you work here and there. Those are signs many times of a Chameleon Carrier that is bringing people in to work their trucks. So be very careful. We'll be talking about that in the future. Right now, your carrier homework is find out how other people are feeling about that. If you're looking at a carrier and you're not sure, first of all, go see their operation. Go look at their trucks. Their trucks look good, maintained. Do they have logos? Those kind of things. Check their safety record. Ask if people are running as self-employed model or a incorporated person. That is what you want to do. Their safety record is going to tell you a lot, because these Chameleon Carriers, it's not just about avoiding taxes. Usually we find they're the ones who are unsafe and all of that as well, for sure. Okay, in our next segment, we're going to be talking about how to protect yourself as a career and why it's important, but we don't want to go too far here. Let's get you started with some of these great questions and things to ask, and start preparing your own questions. Go through and find out, do some homework online, do some homework on the associations like we've said, and find out, are you really going to work for the proper carrier? And there's a lot to finding a carrier that's a fit for you. We talked about that. If you were looking at, if they only run highway and you don't want to go on the highway, don't apply to that carrier. If carriers are kind of taking you on, they don't care about your experience or whatever, it's another sure sign. We got some really unsafe roads in this industry, and we need to help clean them up, and by getting true professionals working for proper companies, that's the way we're going to do that. Hey, if you're somebody who's looking into a new program or a new training facility for the trucking industry or heavy equipment, then may I suggest Ontario Truck Driving School. Like I said, your foundation is your training. Start with good foundation, and then you're going to go far. Ontario Truck Driving School has been around since 1978. They have courses in trucking, bus, heavy equipment, and construction. They can help you. I've worked with them for years. I used to work for them as a trainer as well, so I know that they're an upstanding operation. They have 9 locations throughout the province of Ontario, and the best way to find out all of what they can offer is by going to otds.com. That's where you can go to get that. So make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Join us next time for how to protect yourself and your career through the right carrier, and we will talk to you next time. Bye for
This
now.
has been another episode of the Lead Pedal Podcast. For more information or to subscribe to the podcast, visit theleadpedalpodcast.com, and be sure to follow the podcast on Facebook and Twitter.